What's going on, guys? This is episode 13 of Dispersing the Cloud. I'm going to raise the camera up a little bit because it's chopping my face off. This is not how I wanted to start the video. There we go. Bam. Maybe? Yeah? Horrible production value, Fragoza. Better. Alright. Not much, but better. Okay, so this is episode 13 of Dispersing the Cloud. Let me turn this down. A little recap of the week. We did 2 days of shooting for Dwyer Productions for 5th and 3rd Bank on Monday and Tuesday. That was pretty nice because I got a little bump in my role with their particular production company, so I got a little bit more responsibility thrown on me, which is just good for Fragoza Media. I had a conversation with a couple of our sponsors for the tour coming up, so I have some meetings next week to kind of finalize a couple deals with them, so that's kind of in the works right now. I also got an email from AIM on a potential trip to Cambodia. This is something I wanted to do. I heard that AIM actually has a kickboxing gym for young boys, teaching them how to be men, and I thought, dude, I love mixed martial arts. Plus, now that we're involved with AIM, I kind of want to go to Cambodia and check it out. So they sent me an email with places to stay and near the kickboxing gym and whatnot. So there's a potential Cambodia trip coming up, maybe next summer. But it's cool to be talking about it. I was stoked about that. What else? I'm headed to Carson City tonight, hopefully, to hang out with my friend Ashley. She is one of our, not physical trainers, what do you call them? She's going to get pissed at me because there's an official name, athletic trainer. There we go. Because if you don't say it's an athletic trainer, you can't just say trainer. Miss Ashley, I'm going to have dinner with her and catch up. They got, I think she's she's not with Point Loma. Who's she with right now? I don't know what school she's coaching at right now. She's going to kick my butt if she watches this. But anyway, it's going to be great. I haven't seen her in a couple years, so it'd be great to see her again, catch up. And then tomorrow I will be headed to Pasadena for my grandmother's 95th birthday. She's kicking all of our butts in the birthday category there. And then my buddy, Daniel Rios, some of you guys know him from the not Dispersing the Cloud, from the Socially Challenged episode. His wife is turning 30. That makes me laugh. I love it. I love it when people turn 30. So we're going to take her out tomorrow night and celebrate her death. Process. You know what? I'm going to kill this real quick. Alright, it's making noise I don't like. So the process, a couple different things on the process. One of the things is positive pressure. And I do a really good job of giving myself positive pressure, usually upping the ante more than I'm capable of, and then that positive pressure forces me to rise to the occasion. I had a positive pressure moment on Wednesday. I went to Liberty Towers to give them a visit. I'm going to play this Sunday there for them in their normal worship group, not as like a special event. And I'm just playing keyboards for them, singing a couple songs. And they had a giant poster of Awaken Worship and myself for the tour. And as I walked in, I'm just walking into this huge poster of me. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably saw it. Things like that are positive pressure, meaning I have to rise to the occasion, right? Because I put myself in this situation of I'm booking this huge tour this summer and people are expecting some fireworks, so you got to put yourself in those situations. Another one obviously is the books in the schools. I put myself in a position to where I had to find financing for the books, and I had to find a way to get a mass order of books done to make it even possible for me to continue doing books, because financially you can't be an author and spend all your and make $1 a book. It's impossible. The money just, you'd have to sell so many books, and then the money you would need to even start it is just ridiculous. So you have to mass order. And if I didn't create that problem of going into debt to mass order, then I wouldn't be looking at next school year and booking 100 schools next school year. So you gotta put positive pressure on yourself, and it always makes you rise to the occasion. The other thing is you will fail, period. I watched a Gary V episode today. If you guys don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, you got to go check him out. Disclaimer, obviously, the guy cusses like a sailor, but what his message is just spot on as far as being productive and chasing your dreams and being an entrepreneur. And one of the things he talks about is you're going to fail. You have to fail. I had a fail moment this morning when I got a phone call from the printing press, and they told me that there is yet another delay on my children's books. And so it's just part of it, man. When you put all your chips in and you're going after something that is much bigger than yourself, you're going to fail, and it's just part of the process. You learn from it. I'm learning a lot about timelines and my idea of the timeline and of how long it's actually going to take, and the reality so far is grossly different. So I need to readjust my estimated timelines for some of the clients that I'm telling of what I think is going to happen, how soon we're going to get these books. The timeline I had for the schools, they were supposed to have books by Christmas, and here we are in 2017, and we're sitting in April, and I'm still getting phone calls from the printing press telling me, yeah, there's another delay. So that's just my process this week, is you will fail. The book of the week was Kingdom Man by Tony Evans. I gave this book a 3.5 on my little scale of rating. The only reason it got a 3.5 and not a 4 is because for me, I need stories. I don't need information. I literally just need stories to keep me entertained while I'm listening, because I'm not reading. A lot of good information, but not enough stories for me to stay engaged. One of my favorite authors is Malcolm Gladwell, because he writes literally through stories, and he's always telling you about somebody who is interesting in relation to the topic that he's talking about. But all in all, good book. Not for someone who is not yet a Christ follower, I would say. It's not that it's beyond what you're capable of understanding. You definitely can understand it, but a lot of the verbiage is just going to come across as weird. Like, I don't get it. Well, if you're not truly like sold out for Christ, you won't understand a lot of why this person's speaking in the way that he's speaking. However, if you are already a Christ follower and your Kingdom Man is, I like it, someone logged on. I said Christ follower and they logged right on. That's fantastic. So like, no, I won't talk about that. Don't watch Socially Challenged. You won't like that show either. So if you are a Christ follower and you are a man, this is a good book for you. This is talking about being a kingdom man, being a type of man that doesn't waver in his beliefs or his morals or his standings. One of the really cool phrases in this book was, "It's okay to be great." You know, as Christians, I grew up in church, so I was told that, you know, you want to be meek, you want to be humble, right? Jesus was all these things, and you don't want to be too proud, and you don't want to build yourself up. You know, God put that in us. Like, it's okay to want to be great, to want to make an impact, to want to do big things. I think we need to take that away from our preaching in the church, that it's not okay to do big, grandiose things. I think it's appropriate to give credit where credit is due. Obviously, there's a lot of things that happen in my life that I have no control over. I was gifted as an athlete, which allowed me to win a national championship. So, yeah, I worked really, really hard at it, but I was also very gifted naturally at it. I did nothing to have a lot of fast twitch muscle fibers. There's nothing I'm born with them, or you're not born with them. And so it is what it is. You can definitely improve them on a very minute scale, but you are born with what you're born with. It looks like they're going to start vacuuming here. I might have to wrap it up sooner or shut the door here. So it's okay to be great. Another thing was meekness. Meekness is not weakness. Meekness, actually, the definition is great power or strength. And so one of my favorite stories in the Bible is when I think the Romans, or it's either the Romans or a community, is looking for Jesus, and they're hanging out in a cave. And so they come to him and we're like, hey, we're looking for Jesus. And so Jesus walks up and he's like, I'm him. They're like, no, like I don't think you're him. I think it's got to be somebody else, because we're looking for, like, the prophet, Jesus, the weak, like meek, that guy. And he's like, I'm him. What's up? I am he. Yeah. It was a mob of people. Think like pitchforks and like fiery torches and all the above. And I always picture it as Jesus being like this just freaking big dude, because they said he was meek. They didn't say he was weak. So using that definition, he's this big dude, just, what's up? Yeah, I'm Jesus. What can I do for you? I don't think you could help us at all, because we thought we were expecting somebody very different. So that's a really cool part of this book that he kind of plays on, is men don't have that steadfastness anymore, and they'll waver. One of the things that we've done as a society is we have put very, very high price tags on physical things, right? Like cars, watches, houses, Lamborghinis, like all these nice stuff. And we have, like as a counter to that, we have put very, very small price tags on things like family, honesty, integrity. Things that have really just like, they're kind of important, not really important anymore. I'd rather be rich than honest. That's for sure. It's okay if I tell a little white lie as long as I bank 100 million. Right? So a lot of talk in this book about that. And then another piece of this was men stepping up and feeding your families. He tells the story of his father being very, very poor. And in being poor, someone just said something. Hello, Megan, what's going on? Instead of struggling with being poor, he fed his family. Now his family ate herring every single night, because he would go fishing on the weekends and he would catch just a ridiculous amount of herring. And so what Tony was saying was he was eating herring for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like he said, he doesn't even eat fish anymore because he's so sick of it. He just won't eat fish. But we have so many men in our society today that will not step up and be fathers and be providers, and they have excuses. They have excuses of, I didn't have an education. I don't have the right skin color to provide for my family. I don't have... Hey, Tony Evans' dad, he was an African American. He didn't even have a high school education, but yet he fed his family. They had to eat herring, which kind of sucked, right? But he fed his family. And so that was, this theme of no excuses kind of was the gist of what I took out of the book. And it's going to lead into a little bit of Gary Vaynerchuk's stuff that I watched this morning. The next one was There Is No Hope. So Tony Evans talks about struggling in school, kind of like I struggled in school. And he talks about sitting in class and not wanting to pay attention because for him, for his demographic, from where he was, he didn't see school as the ticket out. School doesn't have the answers, and I think if you ask a lot of people who are in the educational system today, they don't feel like school's their ticket out. They feel like Instagram's their ticket out, right? I just gotta go viral. That's my ticket out. Catch me outside. Go viral. That's my ticket out of where I am right now. And unfortunately, they're right, because the school systems are failing us, right? There's some schools out there that are doing good. I have teachers that work in great schools. I have friends that are teachers that work in great schools. But for the majority, our schools are failing us. And so I can relate with Tony Evans when he said that it felt like there was no way out. And so for him, he didn't pay attention in school because his way out was sports. And so he focused on sports, and he ended up being a tremendous athlete, and that got him into college. And eventually he got where he needed to go once he got into college. Kind of like myself. I fought my way through school. Sports was my way out. Sports got me into college, and eventually I figured out how my brain works and how I can intake information, and that eventually got me out of the situation that I was in. But I want to bring this back to there is no hope. Gary Vaynerchuk said this, that there is money to be made in telling you that there is no hope. Like, that's all we see on TV today. We got Fox News, CNN, NBC, everybody telling us it's very, very gloom, right? We're all going down. There's no hope. There's nothing you can do about it. The only people that can save us is the government, and unfortunately, the government's not being run like it should be. So until it is, we're kind of SOL. We're solo. You know, there's nothing we can do. There's a story that Gary Vaynerchuk tells about this young lady who came up, and she said, you know, I've been trying to raise funding for my business, to start my business. I've been trying to raise funding, but because I'm a woman, I haven't been able to get funding. And Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously, is very brash and very crude. He said, I don't know what to tell you. If you're having trouble raising money, the market's going to kick you in the face, because getting rich white people to write you a check, regardless of race, color, creed, that's the easy part. The hard part is getting people to buy your product and being successful. So if you're struggling with getting funding for your projects as an entrepreneur, I got bad news for you. The market's just going to kick you harder. I thought that was just very insightful. If you guys haven't seen episode, I think it's 201 or 200 from Gary Vaynerchuk, go check it out. Disclaimer again, a lot of F-bombs in that episode, but worth watching. Again, this book, Kingdom Man, was a 3.5, good for any Christian man who's already a believer. If you're looking for a spirituality book and you're not a believer, probably not the best one, just because it's not going to blow your mind. This book's decent. It's going to have some good stuff in it, but it's not going to explode your brain and have you have to piece it together. You want to read something like that, read Crazy Love or read Not a Fan. Those are two books that are religious, that anybody can read, and your brain will explode, and you'll have to piece it back together before you can intake any more information. Next book, this is kind of cool. I'm going to let you guys vote on the next book. So Twitter's doing this thing now where you can put up surveys. So I'm going to post a survey right after this on my Twitter with, let's do 3 options. I don't want to give you guys too many options. We're going to do 3 options for books, and then I'm going to let you guys vote. Whoever has the most votes, let's say by Sunday, that's what I'm going to read. I'm going to do 2 books this week, regardless of how long they are. So I'll pick one other other than the one that I could let you guys vote on. So I'll do 2 books. I have to catch up. I need another 25 books within another quarter, because this last quarter I only got 23. So that means I need to be to 50 books by the time the second quarter ends. And we got a tour coming up, and I know I'm going to struggle with that. So upcoming next week, instead of telling you exactly what I have next week, which is not much as far as on my calendar, I figured I would just list all my projects that I have going on, because that helps me regain my focus. So I have the album to finish up. My date was the 15th of this month. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we will release something in April, if not the whole album. I have wedding singing stuff coming up, at least 7 weddings this wedding season, plus we're booking more. So I have that project going on. Josh and the Sock Army books, again, I got a call today saying that that's been held up a little bit, but I've already booked schools to read at. So again, positive pressure, got to make something happen. My Invisible Friend is a book that is finished, artwork done, ready, needs to be published. I'm going to do that within the next 2 months. We have a third book coming out that has to do with an owl. I don't want to tell you the name of it yet because it's not far enough along to where I have copyrights and all that stuff. Production company is expanding. Fragoza Media and Entertainment. Sorry about that. Someone called me. I should have put it on Do Not Disturb. That's another thing. Don't put your phone on Do Not Disturb because then you forget about it and you miss phone calls. I've been doing that lately. So the production company is expanding, and I am taking on other production companies rather than Dwyer. So I have about 15 different production assistants that help me out. So we're going to spread and take on maybe 2 or 3 more production companies that we start helping out. New acting project that I have going on with a couple of my buddies. We're going to start possibly doing some writing, possibly doing some production of our own stuff for a YouTube channel. That could be down the pipe here in a little bit. And then this podcast, obviously, I have to produce one of these next week. Socially Challenged with my buddy Daniel Rios. We got to find some time to do episode 2 of that. There's a lot of stuff going on with politics right now, with the Syrian nerve gas attack, and then our rebuttal to that. And then we have the summer tour coming up for As You Are. So all that's on my plate next week. I'm coming in hot. This is a little word of inspiration before I take off from you guys. The market doesn't care. The market does not care who you are, where you came from, what color your skin is, what your education level is. The market has no feelings. It does not care. It only cares if you work. That's from Gary Vaynerchuk. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you next week. Later.